Hi yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to my yoga time. Thanks for joining me today. Today's Feel Good Yoga snack will release tension from head to toe. We will be using a block for this practice. The flow part of the class at the beginning, we'll be using the block to help improve our strength around the hips, lower back, lower body. If you don't have a block, you can certainly practice the flow without the block, but for the end of the class, for the restorative section, you might like to improvise with a thick book or a thick blanket or towel that's rolled up nice and tight. So when you're ready, let's begin standing. Come on up. And if you are using the block, we're going to place that one in between the thighs. So you'll come to stand with those feet about hip width apart. And we're just going to use the block here to help fine-tune our alignment in Tadasana, our mountain pose. So briefly lift up those toes, spread them wide, and then settle them back down again. You want to feel ever so slightly that the feet are moving away from one another. The thighs are rolling in on the block, so there's an inward rotation, and then the tailbone points down. So you're shortening that space between pubic bone and belly button, and already you should be feeling quite stable in the lower body and maybe even a little taller. So from here, let's bring our hands to prayer. Lift the crown of the head. Gently place the tip of the tongue where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth, keeping the jaw relaxed. And let's begin to inhale slowly, deeply. As you exhale, press the palms together and point the fingertips down. Inhale slowly, return those fingers to the upright position. And one more, exhale, hands down. Well done. Let's take the hands out nice and wide. Turn the palms away from the body, push through the heels of the palms, but draw the fingers back towards the torso. Roll the shoulders forward and down. Move the elbows back a little. A little bit of nerve tensioning. You might feel heat or tingling down the arms. And then from here, we'll connect index finger and thumbs, roll the wrists, roll the shoulders forward and down. Look down, tuck the chin in and move the back of the neck back just a little. Well done, yogis. Lower the hands down behind you, interlace the fingers. Take the hands over to the left, turn the head to the left, elbows pointing out to the left. And then drop the ear towards the shoulder. Your chin will lift diagonally. You should start to feel a nice stretch from the jaw down to the collarbones. Tip of the tongue is still placed where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. Let's bring the head back to center, change sides. Head turning to the right, drop the ear, lift the chin just a little. And bring that head back to center, lower the hands down. As you inhale, arms straight up, little back arch. And then as you exhale, bring the palms together, chair pose, Utkatasana. Take the hands to the heart center. So initially you can rock forwards and backwards, transferring the weight from the balls of the feet to the heels. And then eventually settling with a little more weight in the heels. Press the palms together, draw the shoulders down. Thighs are firming in on the block. It's quite therapeutic for your knees. So you might choose to stay here, keeping the jaw relaxed and the breath steady. For a little more of a challenge, lower those hands down and pick up the heels. A little balance there. Again, let's slightly tuck the chin and move the neck back. Take your chin lock. Jalandhara Bandha. Well done, yogis. Heels down, come to stand. Let's take the arms out to the side. We're going to cross the right arm over the left. Option 1, just take the hands to the shoulders. Option 2, eagle arms. You can bind once or twice. Let's press the elbows and forearms together, whichever variation you're in. And take the breath awareness into the upper back and shoulders. Let's inhale. And then as you exhale, bend the knees, chair pose once again. Feel the thighs firm in on the block. Press the forearms together. Keep the jaw relaxed. And let's come to stand. Unravel those arms, take them out wide, then lower them down behind you, interlace the fingers. Little back bend here. Press the feet away, roll the thighs in, tailbone down, then lift up out of the waist, expand the chest, lift the heart. Well done, yogis. Back to center. Arms out to the side. Let's go the other side this time. Left over the right. Either hands to the shoulders or take your bind. Feeling that gentle resistance between the arms and elbows. So notice when we challenge the body, what happens to the jaw and to the breath. Often the jaw tightens and the breath becomes non-existent, or certainly shortened and shallow. Let's exhale, bend the knees, chair pose. So by keeping the jaw relaxed and the breath smooth and steady in these slightly challenging poses, you're helping to soothe the nervous system. And in time with practice, eventually this transfers off the mat and we become a little less reactive to life's triggers. Well done, let's come to stand. Same as before, hands behind you, interlace the fingers. Let's take that upper back bend. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, bend the knees, fold forward. Keep the hands as they are. Let the head hang. Wherever you are, release the fingers, remove the block. If you're standing upright, fold forward. When you're ready, take the hands to the low back, stack one palm on top of the other. Inhale halfway up, exhale to fold. Option 1, collect the opposite elbows, bend the knees a little for ragdoll. Option 2, bend the knees, drop the hips, squat, lift the arms. So we want this to be a rest pose where we're rounding the low back, so either ragdoll or squat. One more breath. If you're in your squat, take the hips up. Let's all step the left leg back. Low lunge, left knee to the mat. Inhale, arms up. Gently draw that left knee forward. A little tone in the buttocks. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, lower the right hand down, reaching for your left thigh. Look down past the hip. Let's come back to center. Half pyramid, hands down, hips back. Straighten out the right leg, point those toes up to the ceiling. So you might choose to stay here, and we've got those back toes tucked under. Otherwise, a little deeper if you sit back onto that left heel, so you've got a toe squat happening with one foot. You can take the hands behind you, allow the back to round and fold forward. Keep gently pressing down through that right heel and try and drag the leg back just a little. Breathe. Let's inhale forward, lifting up the left leg as high as you can. Either stay here or test your balance. Hold onto the right ankle with one hand or maybe both hands. Let's lower left foot down. Inhale halfway up, fingertips on the floor or the mat. And then as you exhale and bow, take your hands to your calves. Bend the knees a little if you need to. Inhaling halfway up again, this time take the hands to the low back, strong in the back and the core. And then exhale to fold, either ragdoll, hold the elbows, or squat. Bend the knees, drop the bottom. If you're in your squat, lift the hips. Let's take the right leg back, low lunge. Inhale the arms up. A little tone in the right buttock now. And either staying there or take that little twist, lower your left hand down, look towards your hip, and deepen the breath. Well done, yogis. Half pyramid, hips back, straighten the left leg, toes up to the ceiling. Either stay there or sit back onto the heel. And gently guide the left heel back. And when you're ready, walking hands forward, taking your variation of standing splits, reaching right toes up to the ceiling, either keeping both hands on the floor or holding onto that left ankle with one or both hands. Inhale. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. Gently send your chest towards your thighs. Press into the pads of the fingers. Broaden the shoulders. Let's take 3 lion's breaths here. You'll inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. Stick the tongue out wide. You're purging through the breath. 2 more. Well done, yogis. Let's lower those knees to the floor. And we'll come to seated. So a little bit of core work with the block again. You can practice this without the block. So in between the thighs, leaning back for your 45-degree angle, coming into our boat pose, Navasana. So if you need to lighten the pose, you can always practice with 1 foot at a time, otherwise lifting up both feet. Thighs are squeezing in on the block, shoulders are drawing down. Let's lower the feet, bring the hands back now, fingertips point towards the feet. Either pause here or lift up those hips, reverse tabletop. Broaden the collarbones, lift the hips. Let's take a seat once again, boat pose, Navasana. And reverse tabletop. Last boat pose. And then this time we'll lower the feet down, toes up, heels down, recline onto your back. Bring the feet in a little closer to the bottom. Inhale, lift the arms and the hips. Bridge pose. Let's hold it here, keep firming in on the block. Inhale, lift up the heels and lower down 1 vertebrae at a time. Lower the arms. When you touch down, remove the block. And then we'll bring the feet together, knees out wide, butterfly pose. Hands can stay by your side, or again, you can take them overhead and hold opposite elbows with the hands. Breathing down into the hips and thighs. Let's bring those knees back together now. Lower the arms down if they're overhead. Lift up the feet, stack the knees above the hips. Imprint your lower back on the mat. Either stay there for a breath or two, or lift the upper body off the mat, reaching the fingers towards the feet. And let's lower down. Well done, yogis. You might like to hug the knees into the chest. So moving into the restorative phase of our practice now. This is where you can recruit your block again, or your towel or blanket for a supported bridge pose. Option to have the block on the flat side, or you can take it to the second height. Arms can be by your side or above the head. And only if it feels okay for your back, you might like to straighten and relax the legs. If there's any niggling or catching in your low back, then do bend the knees. Observe the body moving with the pulse of the breath. Let's lower the arms down now if they're overhead, bending the knees if the legs are straight. Lift up the hips and the heels together, remove your prop, and lower down one vertebrae at a time. Touching down to the mat, same as before, lift up the feet, stack the knees above the hips, imprint your lower back onto the mat, and then lift head and shoulders. Keep the jaw relaxed and the breath steady. From here, you can lower the right leg, take a hold of the left knee, and then we're twisting left knee over to the right. You might like to rest the knee on your block. And just allowing the body to soften around the edges. Giving in to gravity. Changing sides when you're ready. And deepening the breath to deepen the twist. When you're ready, release the pose. Return to your back and we'll come into shavasana, laying flat, taking up as much space as you like, tucking the shoulders under, softening the forehead, the tongue and jaw. And just taking the next few moments to be the witness. Just observe the pulse of the breath moving the body. Notice the sounds meeting the ears. The mat beneath the body. The pulse of the breath moving the body. Let's inhale a little deeper now. Swallow if the mouth is dry. Begin to wiggle toes and fingers. Moving and stretching as those urges arise. Whenever you're ready, roll to your preferred side for the fetal position. And taking as long as you like to rest there in that nice moment, in between moments. Thank you for practicing with me today, yogis. I hope that you enjoyed that short class. If you have any class requests, feel free to make them in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel. Not just this channel, but any teacher that you watch on a regular basis. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Have a lovely day.